There are inner compulsions that defy logic, powerful currents drawing you towards certain behaviors that seem entirely disconnected from your conscious goals. You recognize these magnetic pulls, these inexplicable leanings, and you've fought against them repeatedly. You've tried to intellectualize them away, mask them with busyness, or simply pray for their sudden disappearance, yet they persist, woven into the fabric of your daily existence. What if the very nature of these relentless urges, these things you label as your personal baggage, was misunderstood from the start? What if the universe, in its infinite wisdom, intentionally embedded these drives within you as a foundation for the person you're rapidly transforming into? Before you leap to judgment, assigning yourself guilt or shame for the struggles that revisit you, it's imperative to take a moment and reconsider the source. The impulses that bubble up feel contradictory to your desired self-image. They can be profoundly unsettling, generating a significant amount of internal friction and confusion. Despite the chaos they seem to represent, an undeniable whisper deep within your core tells you that this is not chaos at all. It's an intricate design. You, the individual who has been selected for a greater path, must understand this. The very actions you critically assess as failings or weaknesses are often the clearest signals that a powerful, celestial force is actively retooling your inner architecture. This profound spiritual realignment is preparing you for a future mandate that your logical mind simply hasn't managed to process yet. These persistent, seemingly uncontrollable drives don't originate from a place of mere dysfunction or disorder. Instead, they emanate from a much deeper, more dynamic source, a kind of spiritual engine running consistently beneath the surface of your conscious life. This engine is constantly propelling you forward, urging you toward an iteration of yourself that is inherently more resilient, immensely clearer in its purpose, and perfectly synchronized with the ultimate plan the Creator has for your life. You experience these subtle shifts, the sudden, potent cravings, and the unexpected spiritual turbulence, and your immediate reaction is often a bewildered self-interrogation. Why am I like this? What is fundamentally wrong with me? The actual answer is not one of fault, but of power. The truth is exponentially more empowering than your fear. These recurring patterns are not indicators of a character flaw or a spiritual deficit. They are, in fact, powerful markers of a burgeoning spiritual awakening. When the divine prepares a soul for an elevated role, the process is rarely marked by fanfare or clear-cut announcements. The transformation is often concealed within a sudden, overwhelming desire for fundamental change, a profound need to divest from old attachments, an eruption of crystalline self-awareness, and an inexplicable, ravenous spiritual hunger that nothing else seems to satisfy. While the world observes your actions and misinterprets the meaning, the higher realm knows precisely what seeds of destiny have been planted within your soul and why. Today, we will intentionally illuminate 7 profound internal drives, silent compulsions, that individuals destined for greatness frequently develop, completely unaware of their true, sacred function. These are not flaws to be eradicated. They are, in fact, sophisticated divine mechanisms meticulously engineered to fortify your spirit, sharpen your inherent insight, and fully equip you for the monumental tasks and assignments that are waiting just beyond the horizon. Our goal here is not to provoke shame or cultivate a sense of unworthiness, but rather to reveal the exquisite spiritual engineering that underpins your entire, ongoing evolution. Before we dive deeper into this profound revelation, please take a moment to engage with this content. Press the like button to amplify this message. Ensure you are subscribed so you don't miss future guidance, and type 99 into the comments section. That specific number, 99, holds the sacred vibrational frequency of divine completion, a potent sign that the transformative work initiated within you by the universe is not just continuing, it is about to dramatically accelerate its pace. The first of these 7 sacred drives is the compulsion toward endless self-refinement. This is a relentless, unceasing internal magnetism that flatly rejects the notion of staying comfortable, static, or familiar in any current state. While most people find a routine and settle into it, defining that predictability as stability, something within your spirit becomes intensely agitated the very moment it detects the slightest hint of spiritual or personal stagnation. Your soul is not built for stillness, it hungers for limitless expansion. You are driven by an insatiable appetite for evolution, a powerful, primal desire for the next, highest expression of yourself, often before you can even clearly visualize what that future version entails. You pursue knowledge, mastering new competencies, engaging in profound self-reflection, seeking emotional breakthroughs, and achieving spiritual elevation with a degree of commitment that is far from casual. Your pursuit is compulsive, almost instinctual, as if your soul is actively chasing a future reality that it has already witnessed and accepted. This potent, unyielding hunger for continuous growth is not merely a sign of ambition. It is the manifestation of your divine assignment. It represents the Creator placing an inextinguishable fire within your core. A divine tension that ensures remaining the same feels like a spiritual crisis, an act of self-suffocation. Every time you consciously elevate your mindset, redefine your habits, refine your routines, or adjust your personal standards, you are not just making improvements. You are meticulously aligning yourself with the cosmic blueprint that was designed for you before you ever took your first breath. While this demanding compulsion can, at times, feel utterly draining and taxing, it is simultaneously the unstoppable energy that transforms ordinary, call-out individuals into visionary leaders, profound healers, pioneering innovators, and prophetic voices. This drive conditions you to operate with deep-seated resilience when others succumb to pressure. It tempers and strengthens your character in those periods where excessive comfort might have softened and weakened your resolve. It actively generates an unstoppable, rolling momentum that propels you continually upward, even when external circumstances conspire to drag you backward into the past. And here lies the deeper, profound truth of this particular drive. Every single time you rise to a new level, someone you haven't yet met is being divinely prepared and positioned to rise directly alongside you. Your personal evolution is never isolated. It is the vital spark intended to ignite a transformative movement that is far grander than yourself. That moment of ignition is rapidly approaching. The second spiritual drive is the compulsion towards swift disengagement, the addiction to walking away. This is a pattern of detachment so immediate and clear-cut that observers frequently misinterpret it as emotional coldness or aloofness. In reality, it represents one of the most sophisticated and powerful spiritual defense mechanisms gifted to a chosen individual. You are fundamentally incapable of clinging to, pleading for, or negotiating with anything that generates internal dissonance or chaos. The instant a situation, be it a personal relationship, a professional role, an outdated routine, a toxic conversation, or even a past version of your own identity, begins to feel misaligned with your spiritual current, an internal alarm instantly sounds. An inner voice whispers with unshakable conviction, "The time for movement is now." And without hesitation, you initiate the departure, not out of petty pride or reckless rebellion, but because your spirit detects impending spiritual danger long before your cognitive mind can fully analyze or articulate the threat. You are not structurally built to degrade or wither in environments that lack the necessary energy to sustain your unique spiritual mandate. You are not designed to gasp for air in spaces where your intrinsic light is being purposely dimmed, your innate intuition is systematically ignored, or your destiny is being unnecessarily delayed. Consequently, you detach with speed, instinct, and a surgical precision, as if a switch was deliberately programmed within your soul that automatically activates the moment your ongoing growth is genuinely threatened. What the outside world observes and dismisses as giving up, the universe recognizes and validates as a necessary spiritual evacuation. Where they perceive abandonment, the higher realm sees radical acceleration. Every door you have definitively closed has served to protect you from a future outcome that you were never intended to experience. Every decisive exit you have made has meticulously redirected you toward a destiny that is infinitely larger and more profound than the confines of your immediate comfort zone could ever hold. And perhaps the most mystifying aspect of this internal drive is the deep, pervasive tranquility you experience immediately following the break. There is no accompanying tidal wave of guilt, no lingering regret, and no exhausting emotional residue. This profound peace is not a sign of indifference. It is absolute confirmation. It is the divine showing you that you were never actually losing anything valuable. You were, in fact, strategically escaping something potentially catastrophic. But here is the critical layer almost no one realizes. Every time you walk away, you are not merely leaving a situation behind. You are simultaneously stepping directly toward a divine intersection where your ultimate purpose, your perfect timing, and your clarified identity will converge in a life-altering event. That collision is closer than you perceive. The third compelling force is the compulsion toward deep silence amidst conflict. This is a response so inherently measured and unsettlingly controlled that it often leaves everyone in your vicinity completely bewildered. When the majority of people would instinctively lash out, rush to defend their position, or desperately try to prove their point, you adopt the exact opposite strategy. You become absolutely still. You deliberately shut down the mental noise, withdrawing into an inaccessible internal sanctuary, and allowing your silence to become the most powerful form of communication. External observers will mistakenly label this behavior as simple weakness, passive surrender, or an emotional shutdown. However, they fail entirely to grasp the profound nature of your action. Your stillness is not emptiness, it is elevation. It is the precise moment your spirit chooses to rise above the petty, limited human argument and begin an analytical scan of the deeper, spiritual dynamics lurking beneath the surface confrontation. While they are consumed by a simple disagreement, you are discerning a hidden negative intention. Where they are hearing nothing more than harsh, reactive words, you are hearing the wounded souls projecting their profound, underlying pain. While they are reacting blindly to the immediate surface-level event, you are diligently discerning the actual root cause. Your deliberate silence transforms into an impenetrable shield, a sophisticated spiritual filter, a firewall that actively prevents you from absorbing the emotional and spiritual chaos that others are attempting to drag you into. Rage and immediate reactivity will invariably lower your spiritual frequency, but profound, centered stillness dramatically elevates it. You have learned, often through painful experience, that you cannot afford to waste energy fighting battles that are purely designed as strategic distractions from your preordained assignment. Therefore, you withhold your energy, you breathe deeply, you observe everything, and you grant the universe the time to reveal the true nature of what the moment is actually trying to expose. Every single second you maintain your silence is a second during which your spiritual discernment sharpens to a razor's edge. Every moment you consciously refuse to react emotionally is a moment your spirit opens itself to receive precise, divine instruction. Silence in this context is not merely a lack of speaking. It becomes your primary, most potent strategy. It is controlled, meticulously intentional, and supremely powerful, capable of completely disarming anyone who anticipated that you would simply crumble or give way. And what they consistently fail to anticipate is the profound ripple effect. Your silence doesn't just protect you, it actively exposes them. It unveils hidden motives, effortlessly uncovers the truth, and brings submerged agendas to the surface without you ever needing to utter a single confrontational word. But there is an even more sacred implication here. One day, the exact same silence they are currently mocking or misunderstanding will be the silence that precedes and announces your ultimate rise to power, and that inevitable rise is already forming its shape in the unseen shadows, preparing for a moment they will genuinely never see coming. Fourth inner drive is the compulsion toward profound, intense human observation. This is a silent, refined skill that you never formally studied or trained for, yet somehow you have mastered it completely. The very moment you step into any room, your spiritual sensors activate like an integrated radar system. You are reading entire emotional landscapes on faces before a single word is ever exchanged. You instantly pick up the minute hesitation in a person's voice, the underlying physical tension in their shoulders, the rapid flicker in their eyes that entirely betrays the sincerity of their accompanying smile. You meticulously note who quickly avoids eye contact, who stares for a moment too long, who speaks with pure, unadulterated sincerity, and who is consciously performing an intentional role. This hyper-awareness is not rooted in paranoia. It is pure, unadulterated perception. It is a sophisticated form of spiritual intelligence that the Creator embedded deep within your being long before you had any understanding of its necessity or purpose. While the masses rely solely on the explicit content of what people say, you rely entirely on what people involuntarily reveal when they genuinely believe no one is paying any real attention. You are inherently capable of decoding complex energy fields, subtle emotional frequencies, and unspoken motivations with an astonishing degree of accuracy that can sometimes make even you feel unsettled. However, this powerful, obsessive observation is anything but random. It is spiritual refinement. The universe made you intensely observant because your elevated calling demands a profound level of discernment that cannot, under any circumstances, be fooled by an attractive facade or a convincing lie. You were explicitly designed to detect danger before it even has a chance to fully materialize, to identify betrayal before it can strike a debilitating blow, and to recognize subtle manipulation before it can subtly mold you into an unwilling participant. This advanced ability serves to protect your established path, preserve your sacred inner peace, and ensure the successful manifestation of your life's purpose. And the deepest revelation connected to this drive is this: you don't merely observe what people do. You are keenly observing who they instinctively become simply by being in your presence. Some people immediately shrink back, some rapidly shift their demeanor, and others involuntarily reveal a truth they had no intention of exposing. Your spiritual presence functions as a catalyst, drawing out and exposing authenticity and hidden intentions without you ever having to articulate a single scanning question. This is precisely why certain individuals feel an inexplicable nervousness around you without understanding the root cause. It's why they alter their behavior, acting with an uncomfortable caution, almost as if they instinctively know that their innermost soul is actively being scanned. While this demanding gift often results in periods of profound isolation, it simultaneously ensures that you are supremely equipped for the few connections that are truly authentic, perfectly aligned, and spiritually safe for your energy. But here is the major twist. The more deeply you are capable of seeing, the exponentially harder it becomes for you to unsee. Very soon, the clarity your spiritual eyes have provided will necessitate major decisions that will completely reroute the trajectory of your life. Those decisions are now approaching with remarkable speed. The fifth powerful drive is the compulsion toward sudden, dramatic life resets. This is a pattern of change so unpredictable and swift that you, at times, question the origin of the impulse itself. You wake up one morning and everything within your existing life, your personal style, your regular routine, your physical surroundings, and even specific long-held relationships, suddenly feels utterly expired. All of it instantly feels too constricting, too small for the magnitude of the person you are rapidly evolving into. and without a second thought, you change everything. This transformation is not gradual, not occurring over a span of weeks or months. It is an immediate overhaul. Overnight, you dramatically alter your appearance. You shift your fashion style. You rigorously purge your physical space. You rewrite your entire list of goals. You fundamentally reinvent your core identity, acting as if you are shedding a former skin that can no longer carry the weight of your accelerating spirit. People around you are quick to label this as impulsive, erratic, or simply inconsistent. Yet deep within your knowing, you recognize it as something profoundly different. It is rebirth. It is an act of spiritual maintenance. It is the critical moment when your soul communicates a clear message to your physical self. This particular version of you has fully completed its assigned task. It is time now to ascend and evolve. Individuals chosen for higher service do not passively wait for life to violently force a transformation upon them. They possess the innate ability to sense a spiritual expiration date long before the external, physical world catches up to that reality. These dramatic resets are not chaotic. They are divine evacuations from stagnant, restrictive energy. Every immediate shift actively breaks lingering, detrimental attachments. Every full transformation releases accumulated emotional residue. Every sudden, massive change successfully lifts you out of restrictive timelines that no longer align with the trajectory of your ultimate destiny. And every time you intentionally strip something away, something unequivocally new and greater rises in its place, something clearer, more potent, and more intrinsically aligned with the expansive path that the Creator is guiding you toward. What external critics perceive as profound instability is, in reality, your advanced spiritual agility. You take action when the divine signals movement. You choose to evolve when the heavens send the signal. And because of this responsive nature, you are always one crucial step ahead of environments or relationships that would have successfully trapped and contained you had you allowed yourself to hesitate. But here is the critical underlying truth that you may not have fully realized. Every single reset is meticulously preparing you for one final, monumental transformation, a fundamental shift so profound that the person you ultimately become will barely bear any resemblance to the individual you once were. That immense shift is already audibly rumbling just beneath your surface. The sixth inner drive is the compulsion toward intensely high standards. This is a demanding, unyielding internal requirement that consistently pushes you far beyond the boundaries of what the general world deems acceptable or normal. Your expectation is not just that others should improve. Your core expectation is that you must relentlessly rise higher, think with greater clarity, love with deeper authenticity, move through the world with cleaner motives, and live with an undeniable level of integrity that often makes those around you acutely uncomfortable. This drive is not rooted in arrogance or simple perfectionism. It is fundamental spiritual wiring. Something unshakable inside you categorically refuses to settle for half effort, for half truths, for conditional love, or for arrested development. You experience a palpable physical and spiritual displacement in environments where mediocrity is passively accepted, where loyalty is treated as a negotiable item, or where people's declared values are completely divorced from their lived actions. While others simply shrug and dismissively say, "It's acceptable enough," your spirit relentlessly whispers a different command. No, you were explicitly built for a higher expression. That persistent whisper never ceases. It is the force that shapes the precision of your work ethic, the clarity of your communication, the depth of your loving relationships, and the powerful way you present yourself in the world. People often criticize you for being too demanding, overly intense, or simply impossible to please. Yet, what they fundamentally fail to grasp is that these high standards are not merely personal preferences. They are your strongest spiritual protection. High standards inherently filter your inner circle long before the possibility of betrayal can even reach your core. They automatically repel individuals who seek access without demonstrating responsibility, who demand admiration without offering respect, or who seek your presence without a clear, constructive purpose. They act as a revelatory mechanism, exposing precisely who was never meant to stay and who was only intended to be a distant observer of your journey. And perhaps most critically, your unwavering high standards hold you accountable to the inherent greatness that the Creator instilled within you. They serve as a guardrail, preventing you from shrinking back into outgrown identities. They are the safeguard that actively prevents you from sabotaging the execution of your divine calling. They ensure that every space you enter, every conversation you agree to, and every connection you allow to exist actively contributes to the person you are actively becoming, not the person you have already definitively left behind. But here is the deeper, more impactful revelation. The more truthfully and consistently you honor these sacred standards, the more dramatically the universe elevates your path. This is because the divine will not entrust a chosen soul with a position of major influence if they willingly tolerate that which clearly weakens their unique anointing. Your standards are the absolute gatekeepers of your destiny, and very soon they will become the undeniable reason a door opens for you, a door that no one else around you will be spiritually qualified to enter. That significant door is already turning its handle from the other side. The seventh and final compelling force is the compulsion toward deep emotional withdrawal. This is a pattern of sudden, complete retreat that often leaves the people around you feeling profoundly confused, unnecessarily worried, or even personally offended. One moment you are fully present, actively engaged, freely giving your energy, your measured guidance, and your deep compassion, and the next moment you completely vanish. There are no immediate calls, no quick replies, and no exhaustive explanations necessary. You simply slip into a silence so absolute that it feels as though you have intentionally disappeared into an entirely different dimension. And in a very real spiritual sense, you have. This occurs because when your spirit becomes fundamentally overstimulated, when the energy enveloping you grows excessively heavy, chaotic, overly demanding, or deeply insincere, a profound, core mechanism inside you pulls the spiritual emergency brake. Your soul sends an undeniable signal, retreat now, and you obey this command without any hesitation, not from a place of avoidance or fear, but from a necessity for protection. Emotional withdrawal is not a sign of your weakness. It is your sacred sanctuary. It is the critical divine moment when the universe deliberately gathers your scattered energetic pieces and actively brings them back into a perfect state of internal alignment. While the external world interprets your absence as nothing more than personal disinterest, the divine utilizes it as a powerful chamber of restoration and renewal. In that profound silence, your mind completely declutters. Your crucial intuition resets itself. The spiritual fog that gathered around you lifts away. You reconnect to the original, pure frequency that you were fundamentally designed to carry, a frequency that is far too sacred to be perpetually drowned out by constant external noise or overwhelming emotional demands from others. You undertake a deep healing in places no one else can ever see. You fully recharge in dimensions no one else can possibly reach. And you only return to the external world when your spirit feels completely stable and fortified enough to stand without the risk of collapsing under the sheer weight of other people's expectations. But here is the profound spiritual purpose that almost no one ever understands. Your withdrawals are not merely for the purpose of rest. They are absolutely essential for discernment. Every single time you purposefully disappear, something or someone is inevitably revealed. A previously hidden motive suddenly becomes clear. A false, draining connection loses all of its power over you. A critical spiritual assignment becomes utterly unmistakable. Withdrawal is your most potent diagnostic tool. It clearly shows you who panics in your absence, who respects the need for your sacred space, who attempts to covertly control you, who genuinely prays for your well-being, who mirrors your silence with understanding, and who is fundamentally connected to you only for what you can actively provide, not for the truth of who you are. And as each new revelation unfolds, your chosen path becomes clearer, purer, and more perfectly aligned. Because one day soon, the version of you that confidently emerges from your next period of profound withdrawal will be stronger, significantly more illuminated, and more fundamentally unshakable than any version that has ever existed before. That final monumental transformation is rapidly approaching its breaking point. Chosen one, please pause for a necessary moment and consciously feel the profound weight of the sacred work that is actively occurring within you right now. Every quiet, unseen battle, every powerful, inexplicable inner urge, every decisive shift that compelled you to move away from the person you once considered yourself to be, these were never random, chaotic events. They were not indicators of emotional malfunctions or spiritual defects. These were, in fact, the persistent whispers of the divine, meticulously rearranging the complex architecture of your inner world long before your external, physical circumstances had a chance to fully catch up to the change. You have been painstakingly shaped in absolute secrecy, sculpted in intentional isolation, rigorously refined in moments where no external party was present to applaud your effort, and transformed through a series of powerful impulses that continually pushed you into completely unfamiliar territory. These compelling inner drives were never meant to be perceived as curses or failings. They are instead sacred codes, direct divine instructions deeply embedded within the core of your spirit, to expertly guide you through seasons that you did not yet have the capacity to comprehend. You were never in the process of losing yourself. You were actively shedding the old, restrictive layers that could not, and would not, survive the inevitable elevation that the Creator was preparing for your life. The profound confusion you felt was the necessary cracking and breaking of an old, limited identity. The deep, restless energy was the vital process of giving birth to a new, monumental assignment. The sustained discomfort was the spiritual equivalent of stretching muscles that were designed to carry the significant weight of a destiny far grander and more expansive than your limited past could have ever contained. The divine does not forge ordinary, common vessels. The divine meticulously forges chosen ones, and chosen ones are, by design, built structurally and spiritually different from the world around them. The world fundamentally misreads and misunderstands your evolution because it lacks the capacity to comprehend the intricate, complex architecture of your unique calling. They see internal instability where the universe clearly sees increase and acceleration. They observe inconsistency where the Creator mandates purification. They interpret your withdrawals as avoidance where the divine demands consecration. They simply have no adequate language, no accurate terminology for the intense, necessary metamorphosis that is occurring just beneath the surface of your skin. But the divine does, and now, so do you. Take a moment to look back over your journey, not with a sense of lingering regret, but with profound revelation. Every critical door you decisively walked away from, every sudden, necessary reset, every period of silence you entered for protection, every moment you felt completely alone, but simultaneously deeply guided, these were not accidents. They were spiritual checkpoints, powerful initiations, necessary alignments, and irrefutable proof that the Creator has been faithfully escorting you away from the limited person you mistakenly thought you were, and guiding you precisely toward the illuminated person you were always divinely meant to become. You were being meticulously built for unparalleled clarity, constructed for influential leadership, and fundamentally wired for a spiritual vision that others will one day rely upon for their own guidance. And now the entire atmosphere that surrounds your life is demonstrably shifting. Can you intensely feel it? That subtle yet absolutely undeniable pull, that rising, potent sense that something monumental is rapidly approaching. Something you have been perfectly prepared for without even consciously knowing it. That is the feeling of your true purpose gathering unstoppable momentum. That is the feeling of your sacred anointing increasing its pressure and scope. That is the feeling of destiny confidently stepping closer with every deliberate breath you take. You are currently standing right at the final, pivotal threshold of profound becoming. The former version of you that barely survived the darkness is not, and will not be, the powerful version that is about to walk into the brilliant, transformative light. You are now emerging with a far sharper intuition, a deeper, tested resilience, purer, more focused motives, and a raw spiritual force that can no longer, under any circumstances, be ignored or denied. You are not the same person you were last year, last month, or even yesterday morning. Something irreversible has fundamentally awakened inside you, something sacred, something unstoppable. So step forward now boldly, deliberately, and with prophetic conviction. The monumental life that awaits you is not passively waiting for your permission slip. It is actively waiting for your profound recognition and your declarative agreement. And when you speak that powerful agreement into existence, the entire universe mobilizes on your behalf. If this message has successfully ignited that undeniable fire deep within your soul, if you felt an unmistakable internal shift as you received these words, then declare your agreement right now in the comments section below. Write, "I am ready for my purpose." Let those 3 powerful words immediately become your sacred covenant with the future that is rushing to meet you. Let them anchor your spirit firmly in the truth. Let them seal the transformation that the divine has already initiated in the most unseen, profound parts of your soul. And let this very moment definitively mark the turning point. The moment you finally and completely understood that you were never, ever being destroyed. You were being powerfully activated for your destined greatness.